So you're telling me you're on feng shui?
No, not me.
And you're on wizards.
No, feng shui is real. Wizards are fake.
No, they're both real.
Feng shui is a real thing with buyers, and if the staircase is coming out the door, that means the money's running out of the house and they're gonna go broke.
Somebody lived in this house for 40, 50 years.
All their money went out the door.
This situation right here, flip or flop, the last clip that we saw, it's not like she so happens to walk up and tell them about the wizard that she was seeing. No, it doesn't work like that. It's like, hey, so what have you been up to lately? Oh, you saw a wizard? That'll be kind of a fun segment. Let's put that in there. What's up, guys? How are you guys doing? Welcome back to another LED Live. If you've ever seen anything from TLC, HGTV, any shows about Gordon Ramsay or The Bachelor or any reality TV, you should definitely tune in because we're going to expose some darkness today with the light of Christ.
Wow.
So,
I'm actually kind of shocked that we're exposing HGTV.
Right.
I did not know.
You didn't know it was satanic?
No, I guess
Nothing's off limits.
that's right.
Yeah, so this whole idea for this show started because I enjoy watching HGTV. You said your wife likes watching it too. You know, what do you guys think of when you think of HGTV?
Home and gardening.
Yeah, building.
Yeah, like home renovations and stuff.
Like how to decorate your living room.
Do they cook on that channel too?
No, I don't think so. That's the Food Network.
Okay.
It stands for Home Gardening TV,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah, Home Gardening TV.
So, like you said, it stands for Home and Gardening TV. So I like watching like house flipping and, you know, like someone is hiring an interior designer and they get a whole new home and all that kind of stuff. And so I liked watching Flip or Flop. Tarek El Moussa, Christina, who used to be El Moussa.
Real
now
quick,
Hall.
what is it about? What's a flip or
House
flop?
flipping.
Okay,
Pretty
so
much
buying
it.
a
They
junky
buy a
house, fixing
yep,
it up, selling it
and
for
sell
more.
it for profit. They've been around for seasons. They're like really well-known celebrities in this like field. Now they got a divorce. Flip or Flop stopped.
Shocker.
Tarek El Moussa got 2 new shows, one with his new wife, and Christina Hall's. She branched off with interior design, and she's got a show called Christina on the Coast, which is where she does this kind of stuff in California, where she's from. And she does Christina in the Country because she bought a house, I guess, near Nashville, and now is doing home interior design in that area. And so I liked watching her shows as well, and I came across something interesting. So let's take a look.
All right, come on, doggies. Let's go. I'm excited to figure out what's going on with these guys. Today, we're headed to Laguna Beach to the Shocker Shack to meet with a pet communicator. That way we can understand our dogs better.
I can understand Chisella just fine. If this helps understand Cash, I'm all in. Hi.
Hey, hi, welcome in. I'm Taylor. Hi, Taylor. Nice to meet you. I'm Durga.
Hi, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Hi,
I'm Durga.
Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Nice to meet you. And this is Stella.
Stella and
Hi.
Cash.
Let's make
They're a
some
little
room.
nervous.
Come here, Stella. This way.
We've never done this before.
I'm an empathic healer, and so the reason why I can read dogs is because, you know, dogs have feelings, thoughts, they have personalities, and it really is eye-opening to know where they're coming from on the inside, because I've seen people just make even small adjustments and have the behavior change.
Since we blended dog families, he barks his head off at every little noise. He'll literally be barking as he's even walking towards me and like sees me, but he won't stop.
I was hoping that I could hold him just so I could
Please
tune
do.
into him.
He loves attention.
Sorry.
He's like, oh, this is a different perspective. So Cash, when I tune into him, I almost want to cry. My heart gets heavy, and I feel like that there's a barrier, like he's losing you. Like he definitely feels like he's lost his place, but he actually feels like, I don't know if it's territorial or that like he has to constantly prove himself or get attention because he feels like he's being put in the background in some way.
Man, what people believe this junk.
Okay. I'm not shocked by the content that's ever on TV anymore. But are you kidding me?
The
Yeah.
dog
Like a
whisperer.
dog reader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
So think about this, right? You come to HGTV to watch home renovation and design and gardening and stuff. And so I understand that in reality TV, and you've worked in reality TV.
I did.
They put sections in there to kind of portray the characters, because it's a storyline, right?
Bring about a drama.
Yeah.
Get to know them.
That get to know them personally. And you'll see later on that she actually is into this kind of stuff in her personal life. But again, like, if you are going into this completely off guard and all of a sudden you start seeing this kind of stuff, it's like, why? Why is this in there?
I think it goes and centers back in the whole age old. When you see it, you become familiar with it, and you're going to accept that as that's normal.
Yeah.
And so, normal family, I think that TV show that came out, right? You're putting this like really like broken whack job of a family amalgamated together, modern family, same sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, look at our families today, we're just falling apart because we don't have the models that we should have. And so when I see this, it's like, I don't know if they went with enough intentionality of like, we're going to do a show here and hopefully that'll influence people. I don't know if it's like that complex, but I'll tell you what the devil does. He knows, like putting this out there, just normal people do this.
Yeah, look at TV used to have some kind of morality to it. Like Lucy and her husband didn't even sleep in the same bed, which... that's not really a moral thing, but they're trying to, not expose families and children to a sexual scene or whatever. And then you had like Leave It to Beaver and Andy Griffith.
I was about to say Andy Griffith.
Yeah, and they go to church and they, you shouldn't have lied and all this stuff. And now you got just the trash that's out there today where it's just like, let's practice witchcraft together. And then like the dad is... he hates his wife and he dreads going home, and the wife wears the pants, and the kids are rebellious and on drugs and coming out of the closet, and that's looked at as, this is normal.
We talked about on the show Elemental. Do you guys remember that Pixar movie? In the first few minutes of that whole entire cartoon, the mother is a palm reader.
Wow.
And, you think about that. It's just like, if the parents are watching this, the kids are watching that, and it's like you're constantly bombarded by this, like, you can speak to the spirits. How can this not affect society?
Right.
You're saying that the producers may not have had the intention, we don't know, of, we're going to influence these people by showing the segment of her life. The devil may have. What do you think they may have been thinking? Because was the show tanking? Did they need to show this part of her life? You would think if it's a topical show about home improvement, why not stick to the topic? Because you have an audience that have interest in that.
So living in Los Angeles for 10 years, you rub shoulders with all kinds of different people, and a lot of people are into this kind of stuff.
That's true.
And so I think it's just the nature of these guys are the ones with the microphone. These guys are the ones with the video cameras, and they're putting out what their worldview is because lots of them are into that. So I would guess that probably some of the production crew, other people are probably really into that. Yeah. And this is just normal to them. And so they're putting it out there.
Compared to like Duck Dynasty.
And what happens is society begins to watch this, which is not a realistic picture of what's really going on. It's just, this is what's into Los Angeles. If you did the show in the South, maybe they'd be going to church.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Is it also a business exchange? Like maybe the Chakra Shack reach out to them and say, hey, I'll pay you X amount of money. Can I be on your show?
When I worked in reality television, because I worked for Animal Planet as well and did some dog shows, I was on worked on a show called Groomer Has It, and we shot in a lot of like dog shops and things like this. No, they want to be on TV. So it's good for their business. So I'm guessing, I think HGTV is probably one of the more lower totem pole ones. They might have more because of Chip and Joanna and stuff. But usually they're working on shoestring budgets in Hollywood terms.
She was saying the business would pay for promotion. Like, hey.
No. I don't remember ever a business paying the production. It would be more or less like, the production calling them, can we do a show at your place? Okay. And they would say yes. Obviously they'd want to do that.
Yeah. So you could think, okay, well, this is just a one-off, right? Like she just went to see a dog whisperer, but it's not. I've got a few more clips in there just throughout her show. Some things where she seems to be into a lot of New Age, spiritualism, etc.
So Christina's let me know that you need some stress relief in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
And I do a lot of different things.
So when I first worked with Sheila, I told her that I was having trouble getting pregnant and that I had, polycystic ovaries. Yeah. And Sheila told me she could get me pregnant. And 6 days later, I conceived Hudson. I know that some people are gonna think that all this is a bit out there, but let me tell you, it works. You just have to be open to it. Tell that Cassie is a little bit nervous about all of this, but once she feels the results, she'll be 100% in.
So how does that feel? Can you feel the difference with just the 2 needles?
Mm-hmm.
She's gone.
I feel more centered.
Welcome to Goat Yoga. You ready to do this? Everybody child's pose. Knees nice and wide. We gotta keep our tummies tight so that when they land on us, we protect ourselves. Okay, here we go.
Release the animals.
Okay guys, last pose. We are gonna bow. Good job, you guys.
Pushing this space back 5-6 feet, we extended the family room by a huge amount. It felt claustrophobic in here before. We had that awkward, tiny TV situation going on. Now we have this massive television. We have all this storage. We have beautiful floating shelves. Like, it feels like a model home now.
I am so happy you guys did that. We needed it so bad.
This looks amazing.
This is incredible. It's incredible. Right as we walk in the front door, it was just a full transformation.
Like, I can't believe it's our house. It looks so big.
Remember the first time I came in, you guys had a major storage issue. We had all the toys in here. Now it feels like an adult space.
Yeah.
We have all this storage and these beautiful cabinets.
I love that I could just put all their toys in there. I don't have to see it.
Such a game changer.
The past 2 months, it's been intense.
Our own spa.
Literally. It looks similar to the kitchen, but it's still so different. I think it looks beautiful.
I like the faucets coming out and then it breaks up the tile.
I am so glad that we went with these counters. It just keeps it like really clean and again cohesive with downstairs.
Totally. Yeah.
I love it.
And you have your own makeup area.
Okay, can we just talk about this for a second?
Yep.
So for 9 years, I was here. I mean, I can keep things all in these drawers. This is amazing, and I get to do my makeup. I'm like so excited. Ooh,
I love this space. Okay, so before I go, Sabrina has a little surprise for you.
If you notice, this speaks to every like kind of person that probably is in Hollywood. They're into this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're decorating with the crystals.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. She's wearing beads. I mean, there's a lot of things that are very typical with like Buddhism, the gonging, all that kind of stuff. But that's so common there.
Wait, but so are the people that she's decorating for, do they keep all those things? Or is it just there for product placement or like just for the shot? Or
yeah, sometimes they're staging them. And there's actually companies that will show up at your house and stage your house to sell your house.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
all that stuff.
But this is her interior design. Yeah. They pay her to do this. So I don't know if they're
this could be hers budget.
Yeah.
That she said, I got 10 grand. What can you do with
Which
that?
is why she can put so much of herself into it, and then it'll be removed and they'll be left with the furniture.
That's the question, is like, are the crystals being removed, or is she just leaving them for them to do whatever they want with it? I don't know.
It's like she literally just said, you know what would make your house better? A crystal in every room. It just needs a crystal.
Even 2 per room.
Yeah, and so as in, like we were talking about influence on society, she's an influencer. What she's doing is saying, I'm a celebrity. What I say is the norm. And she's like, I know this might seem a little weird, but it works.
Yeah.
You have an influential person saying, it doesn't matter if it's weird, it works. I can get pregnant now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when she was with the yoga instructor or the acupuncturist, the acupuncturist was like, "Oh, do you feel it yet? Do you feel it?" It kind of reminded me of like the placebo pill.
Yeah,
where if someone
me
takes
too.
drugs for the first time, oh, I think I feel it. I'm
Good
not sure.
point.
Like, do you feel it? Yes. Like, you know, it's always this feeling thing. And then if you don't feel it, you might think that's maybe you're doing something wrong, or maybe your mind makes you start feeling things because that's what's supposed to happen. Complete opposite of Christianity, number one. And number two, you see how it's a slippery slope, but also a community is building where people want to join and be a part of that and feel whatever is being felt by the influencer.
Right. Right.
And what if she did, now she can get pregnant? That's proof to her this works. But we know in the last days that Satan's going to be performing miracles, signs, and wonders. And that's what the whole falling away in the last days is, because of what people are seeing and experiencing with miraculous signs and wonders.
You know, I think Chip and Joanna are Christian, right?
They are Christians.
Who?
They're
These
Christian.
people?
No.
No.
I don't know who that is.
Are Christian, and I think they do have some Christian little bits.
Who are they?
I haven't watched that show in years.
I watched it. I wasn't really overtly Christian or anything.
But do they show like crosses and things in there?
No, I don't think so. But they outside of the show, they speak openly about being Christian, and they moved their show from HGTV to their own channel called Magnolia TV or something.
But they don't make it about, or the segments about kind of Christianity.
No.
So I just want to throw that out there that this is interesting.
Down your throat.
Well, this is interesting that people, if you had crosses on here and Bibles on the table
People
and
would be
everything,
offended.
people would be like, why are you shoving that down my throat?
Put a
But
Bible in
hear
each
this
room.
Stuff, hear this stuff. She's constantly pushing Buddhist ideas out there, and what? Nobody blinks an eye?
No.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. It's such a biased, twisted thing when people are like, stop shoving your religion down my throat. And they're only talking about Christianity. But Harry Potter's pushing witchcraft.
Let's be fair. I would agree with that statement of don't push this down your throat. Let's not do that. But then you can't just do that with the Christianity, but not do that with the world.
Yeah.
You should call them.
Why are you doing yoga?
Yeah.
On your show?
Reach out to them.
I don't want to watch your religion. I want to see you flip a house or whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
Yoga is a religion.
So when I watched this, I was kind of thinking like, what about other reality TV shows? Specifically ones where you least expect it, right? Where you go to watch these shows because they seem like really kosher, wholesome shows. And I want to watch it because I think it's safe for my family.
So it's not the case where, okay, you just won't watch this, but you watch another show on HGTV and it's fine.
HGTV, TLC. I mean, I'm talking about The Bachelor, but The Bachelor you wouldn't watch because it's wholesome. But I mean, you're watching it because it's dating, right? You're not watching
about
it.
love.
Love, but it's not. You're not expecting or going there for those reasons. So let's take a look.
So, in one word, what are you looking for in a relationship with Zach? One word, just 1 second. Just think of that first. Please tell everyone.
It was safety.
Safety.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one was?
Comfort.
Zach, can you just read this off through me?
Yeah.
What was it?
Safety and comfort.
That's weird. Excuse my language. I'm sorry, I apologize for the profanity, but what in the world?
That's the power of mentalism. You can't hide anything from me.
I can't believe you're going to be in room 16.
Why?
Because room 16 has a ghost in it. This woman told me who went to room 16. She said the ghost was pulling the blankets off her all night long.
And you haven't been drinking sherry?
No.
Wow.
Betty is a ghost at the Curtis house, and people do tell us that she raises a little bit of havoc with them. She's definitely there. Room 16.
A haunted room. My goodness me. Right, go downstairs, have a look. Babe, let me out. Honestly, it must be the bloody ghost. Come on, Betty, let me out. I just want to get some lunch.
I'm Glenn.
And I'm Dagmar.
And we are both psychic mediums.
The energy of this reading, I can already feel it. Glenn and I met in England at a college for mediumship. Mid-morning, he comes up to me and says, "Hi, I don't believe we've had the chance to work together." At the same time he's shaking my hand, I'm hearing my spirit team say to me, "This is the man that you're going to marry." And
after living in Melbourne, Australia for the last 3 years, the couple has decided to relocate with their cat, Grace, to Southern California.
Is there anything else in the house that's original?
I got something for you.
You think of all the people that lived here, and I always go into old houses. Oh my God. I don't believe in ghosts, but I just saw a shadow over there and was like, whoa, let's get the hell out of here.
Vicky!
Hello.
I'm a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Dean. Hi.
Hello.
I'm bringing in a medium, Vicky Smith. I feel there are ghosts in the estate. My mom's heard things. We had other family members that had weird experiences. Dean doesn't believe in anything, but sometimes there are things that you cannot explain.
Go do family yoga for the first time.
How is it that y'all go to school with ponytails and y'all never have them when you come home?
We've been helping Parker work through anxiety a lot more since we took her to see the occupational therapist. And the OT recommended something that could actually help with her relaxation and her confidence. Kids yoga.
We've been recording podcasts all day, and tonight we're interviewing a psychic medium.
Hey guys, this is Kayla and Lindsay with Coffee Combos Podcast, and we are here late night with Monica, the medium.
I'm just gonna open it up to spirit. So this is what happens when I start to channel spirit. I turn all red, my ears turn red.
You look fine.
I start to I can't catch my breath, and a lot of things are happening. So, sorry, this is what starts to happen. Do you have children? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was getting a 3 connection here, but I do get 4, so I do feel like there might be one more child for you. Do you really want a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate to say this, but it might be a boy again.
Are you guys ready? Hey, Alex.
Yes.
Come on, are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go try out our first session of yoga.
I look kind of nude in these pants, Mom.
You look kind of nude.
Bottom line is we need to eat proportionally and we need to exercise. And I think a great activity would be yoga.
You're an urge man?
So Jeff.
I had my wizard read his energy.
A wizard? Do they have like a little wand?
I have a wizard, and
the
she
pointy
read his
hat?
energy, but she was spot on.
Did she tell you I'm the most
wizard?
beautiful man alive, too?
She said he needs to dream bigger and push his boundaries. He can do it. He's an urge man.
I'm an urge man. I'm going to urge both of you to go into this house so we can find out if we're going to buy it because I want to make some money.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, the money.
It's a feng shui nightmare. All the money is going out the front door.
This is a real thing, Jeff.
So you're telling me you're on feng shui?
No, not
thing,
me.
And you're on wizards.
No, feng shui is real. Wizards are fake.
No, they're both real.
Feng shui is a real thing with buyers, and if the staircase is coming out the door, that means the money's running out of the house and they're gonna go broke.
Somebody lived in this house for 40, 50 years.
Yeah, all their money went out the door.
Dude.
So, is reality TV just plain old, we show it with cameras and do whatever you want to do?
Man, I just think that it's really interesting to observe that I mean, you think of all the commandments that get broken all the time and you just get used to it. Mm-hmm. You're just watching stuff with just nonsense. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a case of these people are all into this kind of stuff. It's very common in Los Angeles, and you're going to see a lot of stuff get put into TVs channels and shows because it's so common.
That's the point I'm making. It is not unscripted, right? And so this situation right here, Flip or Flop, the last clip that we saw, it's not like she so happens to walk up and tell them about the wizard that she was seeing. No, it doesn't work like that. It's like, hey, so what have you been up to lately? Oh, you saw a wizard? That'll be kind of a fun segment. Let's put that in there. Like, I was listening to a audiobook by Jill Duggar, you know, the Duggar family. They were on TLC for many years, 19 Kids and Counting. She grew up in reality television, and she basically wrote a memoir explaining it all and the trauma she experienced and how, you know, it was really difficult for her to grow up on TV the whole time and getting the press to come after her and all that stuff.
This is one of the kids?
Yeah, she's an adult now.
Okay.
And she's explaining very vividly, look, reality TV is super scripted.
There's story producers that's part of one of the jobs that's offered on a lot of shows. And what they're doing is they're paying attention to everything that's being shot, all the storyline that's going on. And then they're instigating that or corralling that, if you would, to make a segment. And some of them are really good at their job, but it's interesting. I mean, a person that I was friends with was a story producer on Divorce Court. how in the world is that like
story
not
producer.
just something that happens that's real? But yeah, there's story producers and stuff like that would.
Yeah, it's warping your view of what reality really is.
Yeah, I think like the approach that I take with my children, especially, like I'm very vocal about things that I see that I spiritually disagree with. And, if something comes up, they're, watching HGTV or something like that, and somebody says something, you got to bring it to their attention.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the more that you just let this stuff slide and you don't say anything, and it's just like, especially with kids, you don't have that conversation with them, they're getting a message and it just gets reinforced over the years. So, if you're going to watch this kind of stuff, just be aware that there are things that you don't agree with that are probably going to be put in there.
Have you guys ever been to a party with a mind reader?
No.
Nope.
No?
You have?
I have. Yeah. It was
Mind
interesting.
reader.
Well, I think that's what it's called, but it's like an entertainer, and they do things.
Oh, like a psychic medium?
No.
Oh.
It wasn't a psychic medium, but
Just a mind reader. Not a psychic medium.
I'm like, what parties does Kenny go
just
to?
asking questions and then pick a card type thing, and then they guess the card, or they're asking certain questions. And in the beginning, when the man was asking the woman what she would put in a man, and he had the exact 2 words that she was going to say. So that kind of stuff. So the question I have is there a difference? And if so, what is between someone reading someone's mannerisms or kind of picking up on patterns and being able to guess what someone's thinking versus a spirit guide?
Psychology. That to me is psychology. It's science, right? There's a science behind it, which is realistic. Well, okay, we know some science is very against what the Bible says and is way off, but and generally speaking, I can appreciate and respect psychology because it is based on science. Whereas this spiritualism, we know from the Bible, and I'm going to pull this quote up later on, that you are not talking to your dead grandmother, right? You're not talking to a dead relative or whatever. You're talking to demons and spirits. Yeah.
Human psychology, right? There was a movie that Will Smith was in. It was like a con movie. Do you remember what it was?
Con movie.
And the climax of the movie was like it was a bet, and he had to pick which football player was.
Yes, he was trying to help a guy with his relationship
or something. No, not
that one.
Hitch,
it was
right?
it was about
What was it?
It was
Hitch.
Hitch.
This one was about betting. It was about gambling.
Oh my!
And so how they won their bets was to influence the person that they were gambling with.
Yeah.
So pretty much the crux of it, or the climax, was they were at a football game, and the person had to choose which player, and then the guy who was doing the gambling was to guess which player that he chose. I hope that makes sense. But all throughout the time before the game, on his way to the game, they're flashing the player's number on screens. They have like logos everywhere. So by the time he gets in the room, all of that's right in his head. So he's looking at the field and he singles out that player because of all the pre-work.
Yeah,
that's straight Darren Brown stuff.
That's exactly
right
what Darren Brown did. I watched one where he went to the horse races and he goes, "I'm going to show you that they will pay me out for a losing ticket." He walked straight up to the guy and slapped the ticket down. "I won!" And the guy's like, "Cool, how much you win?" He told him or whatever like that. He peeled him off, and then he walks away with the money. And then turns around and goes back to the guy and goes, "Why did you give me money for a losing ticket?" Wow. But it was because of the way that he approached him. So there's a lot of psychology in making people think certain things, and you can influence people pretty
need to be aware
strongly.
of both spiritual and
correct.
Yeah. So Christina Hall, who we just saw a couple times, the blonde lady from California, after Flip or Flop ended the show, like I said before, she got 2 shows on her own, Christina on the Coast and Christina in the Country. She's actually the producer of both of those shows. So when you think about that, right, what do producers do for reality TV? They're like the big boss, right? They have a huge influence on what's happening on the show. So with understanding that she is interested in these things in her private life, it's not surprising that these things show up in the show. Now, some people might say, man, what up with the crystals? Like, they're just showing you shots of the crystals. We'll come back to that later on. Think of the psychological effects that product placement has on your brain, right? And also, I want to point out that, you know, her being the producer on the show, there's also directors who, you know, oversee all of the camera work, who also have to give instructions like do close-ups of the crystals and stuff. So none of this is just, oh, it just so happened. Like, maybe the camera operator liked the shot because there's the sink she renovated. No, there's a reason why it's in there. It's all scripted, right? So like I said before, she is also interested in these kind of things in her private life. And I found a video where she does a tour of her home where she reveals some of these things.
Oh.
Hey, HGTV, Christina and Josh here.
Welcome to our home.
Come on in. Welcome to the office. It's where all the magic happens.
Oh yeah, this is where the magic happens? I thought it was our bedroom.
So this is probably the most colorful room in the house. We have a lot of blues. Of course, we still have some live plants. That's an olive tree over there. I have this painting from one of my wizard friends. And of course, my favorite crystals, the angel wing amethyst. Yeah. But I just love all the natural light in here. Just pop our laptop down, take phone calls, have design meetings. It's a very relaxing office. Yeah, this is probably truly the only room in the house that's actually for me.
Yeah, well, this is your space. Let's go see my space. And you know it's mine.
No, that's all yours.
You stay out of there.
Yeah, there's like a lotus.
Lotus. And
Crystal, Isis.
Yeah.
She's not hiding it.
She talked about wizards and things like that. Think about like the experience that Jesus had when he was being tempted with Satan. And Satan's going, look, if you bow down to me and you call me God or whatever, I'll give you all this stuff. And I think that's what's happening here in some of these experiences.
I'll give you a mansion, a
they're
reality
getting
show.
fame and success, and then they're tinkering with this stuff, and then they're attributing their fame and success to them bowing down to whatever entity that is.
So the question is, do they know?
No. The truth, I bet you they're deceived.
Yeah, a lot of people don't say I worship the devil.
Yeah, I don't want to make
I do chakras and things.
I don't want to make a blanket statement like Christina Hall was worshiping the devil and knows it. I don't want to say that. You know? But she's definitely, you know, like falling down this track, maybe not even knowing what she's tinkering with. And it seems like it's working for her because look, she went to see this acupuncture lady and she got pregnant when she couldn't get pregnant. You know what I mean? So
let's be clear though. There's only two sides. You worship Christ or you worship Satan, and he has a lot of different disguises, whether it's yoga, chakras, tarot, Ouija, whatever.
Corinthians 10, right? It basically says that those that sacrifice, they thought they were sacrificing, but they're actually sacrificing to demons.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know.
God loves Christina Hall. He loves her husband, Josh Hall. He loves anybody working in these productions.
Correct.
I want to make it absolutely clear that despite them tinkering with these things, God is just constantly just working in their hearts trying to pull them back.
That's right. Pray for these people because they are in a leadership position where they're influencing a lot of people. And, you know, if you like home fix-it shows and you are, you know, people follow celebrities and they will have an influence over a lot of people. So pray for these kind of people that somebody's around them can reach them with the truth.
That's right.
Shout out to Kat Von D. Keep growing, sister.
Kat Von D. Go for it.
Yeah, so you talked earlier, you talked a little bit about how in reality TV, you know, these people, especially in California, are interested in spiritualism, New Age, these kind of topics. And that's why we tend to see it in these kind of programs, especially if those people are at the top, like the producers, the directors, etc. So I found a clip, we all found this ages ago, that really reveals the intent of these people at the top. So let's take a look at that one.
So I always like to think of it as like I've got them sitting there, whip a little message at them, whip a little moral at them, whip a little of what my view of the world is, because that's what every good filmmaker does.
Okay, Kevin Smith, Hollywood director, right? I know this is Hollywood, this is not reality TV. And he basically says, these are my ideas, my morality, and I'm going to put this in my movies and put my worldview in these movies, right? Now, what about reality TV? So this is Rita Mae Brown. She is an author. This is what she writes. Art is moral passion married to entertainment. Moral passion without entertainment is propaganda. and entertainment without moral passion is television. In other words, television is propaganda. Let's look at one more quote. This is Annette Hill, professor of media and research, and she says, reality TV seems to lack a moral center by which viewers can check their own moral compass.
Now I want to hang on that for a second, because what I think is going on here with reality television, the devil influences a lot of people just as much as God influences a lot of people too, right? You're operating under the Spirit of God. You don't have the Spirit of God. You could easily be operating under a demonic spirit that's influencing you in a certain way. And what I believe that you're doing is you're seeing a lot of immoral humanity, and you're seeing that as reality. Yeah. And they call it reality. I mean, isn't that just a crazy thing that they're I mean, it's almost like calling it like life. This is what life looks like. Mm-hmm. And then as people are watching that, what you don't realize is you're watching an extreme view of brokenness or immorality that's not really representative of life as a whole.
Reality TV doesn't have a moral center. So as you're trying to figure out what your morals should be, reality TV is not going to depict good morality. You can't find it there. What do we understand as our moral compass to be as Christians?
The Bible.
The Bible, exactly. Does reality TV in any way, shape, or form depict Christianity according to the scriptures?
Right. No.
Right? It does the opposite. And so that's why it is such a problem when we watch these things, because it really leaves us astray.
Yeah.
You're watching immorality, and then it's like monkey see, monkey do, right?
Like, well, I'm not that bad.
Or
I must be okay.
Or you're just living up to the standards that you're watching.
Yeah,
is how I kind of interpreted that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I think too. Like we were talking about the degradation of morality in television. You got Leave It to Beaver and all that, and Full House gets caught drinking half a beer, and I'll never drink again, Dad. And now it's like, here, put some hair on your chest. And now it's like, oh, it must be okay to share a beer with your son, 10-year-old son, because I saw it on TV and it's normal.
You have actors who don't have TVs in their home. You have musicians who don't play their music for their children, at least not to their adults, full adults.
Yeah.
But we're so quick as a society to be like, here, or not be as attentive to what our children are doing.
Yeah.
But as morality is degrading and as it's falling apart, I think it is so amazing that God does his best work in the most unreal, immoral situation. He, like it says in Revelation, right? Here is a people that have no guile in their mouth. Here is a group that literally are full of righteousness, and they love not their lives even unto death.
That's right.
That's the picture that God wants to take Christianity in the face of where this is all going.
So whatever we're talking about right now also shows up in science, right? These things that we behold on the TV with no moral center affect us psychologically and neurologically. So let's take a look at the next clip.
The name mirror neuron comes from the fact that they fire both when you do something and when you watch someone doing something, even if you don't move a muscle. Basically, it's as if they mirror the neural activity of the person actually doing the thing.
In other words, by beholding, we become changed. But we all, with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image, from glory to glory, just as by the Spirit of the Lord.
Mirror neurons. You also talked about it in a documentary, Pseudology, The Art of Lying. Go check it out on our Vimeo, where you can rent this whole documentary. Talks about media on the brain.
We spent almost 2 to 3 years traveling around interviewing neurologists, scientists, doctors, all kinds of different people about the effects that TV has on brains, especially young children's that are developing. And that we put a lot of great energy into that. So if you are very curious about the mechanics of how TV works, I really highly suggest that. You can even just look in our YouTube channel and just search. We'll put a link to the description of the trailer that's on there. But it's good information to know. And you will be shocked at how much they actually really do know. They know that there's an influence and an effect.
Right. So literally, like this clip was saying, and by the way, this clip is from a video we did on the Barbie movie, which you can find on our YouTube. It's saying monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
If you go and, please don't do that, but if you punch candy or something like that, right? My brain cannot tell the difference. It makes my brain thinks that I just did that, basically, right? It cannot determine that I didn't, but it was you doing it. It doesn't separate the two.
That's where sympathy comes from.
Exactly. And that's why the Bible says, the Bible was way ahead of its time. It says, but we all with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as by the Spirit of the Lord. In other words, if we behold Jesus, we become changed into his image. But if we behold evil, immorality, we become changed into that.
That's why that song says, turn your eyes to turn your eyes upon Jesus.
That's right.
Because if you look into his wonderful face, the things of this world will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. And if you focus on all this evil trash, you will eventually lean towards that. If you focus on and keep your eyes on a relationship with Jesus, you will eventually want to become like Jesus.
You guys heard of the frontal lobe?
Yeah.
Can somebody explain quickly what it is? What's the frontal lobe?
The seat of your morality, spirituality, and your will. It's your computer driving force, but it's also where God interacts with you.
That's right.
It's right in your forehead.
What's behind the frontal lobe? What part of the brain?
Canvas?
No, limbic system. Limbic system. Does anybody know what the limbic system does?
Lizard brain. It's your emotional brain.
Well, that's what the evolutionists call it. But yeah, fight or flight, anger, aggression. That's
survival.
Where you survive. It's where you get your sexual passion from, etc. So I've got a clip in here that explains it a little bit more, and this is from Pseudology.
If you've ever experienced a mind fog after watching television, you're not alone. The brain has 4 modes that it operates in, 4 brainwave patterns. Delta is when you're deep asleep, theta is when you're in light sleep, alpha is awake but relaxed. It's the mode of thinking that you are in when you're in the most heightened state of suggestibility. And then there's beta, the highest functioning mode, like when you're reading a book or you're having a very stimulating conversation. In 1969, Herbert Krugman did a study where he found that in less than 60 seconds, the human brain switched from beta brainwave patterns, those exhibited during logical thought, to alpha brainwave patterns.
That's an awesome documentary. As an influencer, I want to recommend watching Pseudology. Like, out of all the documentaries that Little Light has, Pseudology and Replacement Gods Part 1 are like top-notch, timeless pieces. It doesn't matter how old it is. This is amazing information, and this is something that if somebody's a skeptic, like I don't
not
believe,
a Christian even.
Yeah, I don't believe
science.
Media has an influence on me. When you watch this, you're going to know that media does have an influence on you, and then you say, okay, now that you've accepted that it has an influence, what are you watching? What's the message you're getting over and over and over again?
Yep, and that's my brother Tom, by the way.
Yeah,
woo-woo, go Tom. Yeah, so basically, if you watched media, besides the mirror neurons, besides, monkey see, monkey do, there's also this aspect of the frontal lobe, which is the seat of morality, spirituality, the will, the part of your brain you use to make thorough, thought out decisions is shut off, right? And the limbic system takes over the aggression, the, sexual passions and all that kind of stuff. Now, moving on from this point, right? Understanding a little bit of the mechanics of the brain. What about if we see those crystals just put around, but nobody talks about it, which we could connect to product placement. What about product placement? What kind of effect does that have on the brain?
Psychologically, when we're exposed to a persuasion attempt, and we recognize it as a persuasion attempt, your defenses automatically go up. We don't have the same reaction necessarily with product placement if it's incorporated into the programming that we're interested in.
That's especially true if it's done in a way that fits.
In the Marvel movies, Audi provides many of the vehicles. So Tony Stark driving, an Audi supercar. We don't think anything of it. The integration, it's much more subtle. It doesn't come across as that blatant persuasion attempt.
Data suggests that this type of advertising is extremely effective. In a 2018 study by Branded Entertainment Network, a major player in this type of marketing, they found that product placement is 11% more effective in driving purchases and 10% more effective in supporting brand affinity over traditional 30-second commercials. And on Hulu specifically, those numbers reach 89% and 74%.
Man,
whoa,
that's really like true, because when a commercial comes on, people are like, bah! Mute it, walk away. You don't even want to watch it because you're just trying to sell me something. But when you're wrapped up in the story, wrapped up in the movie, and you see your favorite celebrity like rocking that thing, they look so good in it, you're like, man, I want a car like that.
Scotty has a story about that.
Do you?
You talking about the fur coat?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
So when I was in Hollywood, I'll have to dig up the pictures sometime for you, but
I can find it.
I was a big fan of Fight Club, and in there Brad Pitt wore a fur coat. So, I mean, I jumped in the car and went straight down to the local thrift shop and bought a fur coat. And I was like, yeah, this is pimp, dude.
A fur coat in LA. That made a lot of sense.
I wore the fur coat out. I mean, I just think I needed to have my head examined at that point. But
speaking of Fight Club, there's a clip. Is it in Pseudology or in some of your presentations where you were showing Fight Club at a Christian college and asked them afterwards, so where did you hear them cussing out God? And like one person raised their hand.
And
right?
that really speaks to what you just mentioned about the way the mind works.
Yeah.
Because your brain is like a computer, it can only process the information so fast. You're throwing a lot of information at them when you're watching a movie. There's sounds, cuts, there's different storylines that are going on. You're trying to make sense of like who's this, who's that, but they're not showing you a sequential time frame. It's like all this stuff blended together. And so your brain, to compensate for that, works off of your limbic system. And you're not thinking critically about any information going in. Well, in the middle of that movie Fight Club, or in the most emotional scene, Brad Pitt slaps Edward Norton and says, you have to consider the possibility that God does not like you. In fact, God hates you. We don't need God. We don't need salvation. We don't need redemption. And he goes on this whole monologue about how much God hates you.
Our fathers were models for God. If our fathers failed, what does that tell you about God? No, I don't. Listen to me. You have to consider the possibility that God does not like you. He never wanted you. In all probability, he hates you. This is not the worst thing that can happen.
It isn't.
We don't need him.
We don't. I agree.
Damnation, man. Redemption. We are God's unwanted children. So be it.
Okay, so
listen. You can run water over your hand to make it worse, or look at me. Or you can use vinegar to neutralize the burn.
Please let me have it, please.
First, you have to give up. First, you have to know, not fear, know that someday you're gonna die.
You don't know how this feels.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
And I was like, where did God come into this picture? Like, this was out of left field. So when I asked all those kids, there was probably 400 kids plus in the room, who's seen this movie, a bunch of hands went up, and I said, where do they talk about God? One hand in the back went up.
I want to ask a quick question. I have seen this movie probably 20 times, maybe more. This was one of my favorite films. How many people in this room have seen this movie? Look at how many hands just went up. Can somebody tell me in this movie where they speak about God? You got one person. What scene? One person. All of you people raised your hand, and only one person told me when they talk about God.
And so out of 400 people, one hand could remember the part where they talk about God is staggering to really observe, like, this is the power that this media has. Clearly it goes in. Yeah. Your brain's a recorder of pictures. All those pictures, it records all that stuff. But the ability to think about it and make a decision about it isn't always there, but that seed sits in the back of your mind. Yeah. You watch enough of those seeds, like brand placement, over time, you'll be influenced by that brand.
I mean, it literally said that according to Hulu, there was an 89% increase of brand affinity. That is a lot just from product placement. So if you just put crystals in almost every single episode, and there's already a fan base or an emotional attachment to this individual who's presenting the show, I mean, come on.
And remember, people are watching the show to get ideas on how to put their house. So I wonder if crystal sales go up or something like that because of all the stuff that's in there. But yeah.
It's another case of God creating something beautiful, him creating something perfect, and then Satan coming in and manipulating it for evil. Because God wants us to experience pleasure. Life should be pleasurable, but Satan is taking that pleasure and then also putting you in an instance where you should be thinking, but now you're overtaking that pleasure. Whenever God is trying to interact with us, what does he say? Come, let us reason together.
That's
I'm
right.
not going to try
Use
to
your
manipulate you. I'm not going to overstimulate your pleasure. Let's actually have a conversation and talk.
That's right.
That's not the tactic of the devil, and we need to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So to kind of pull this all together, right? We understand the mechanics of the brain. We understand this 100% has an influence on us, whether we like it or not. It affects us psychologically and the other way. So why does this matter as a Christian or even for people who are not Christian? Let's look at some Bible verses here. So this is Deuteronomy 18:10 and 11. There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or one who practices witchcraft, or a soothsayer, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or one who conjures spells, or a medium, or spiritists, or one who calls up the dead.
It's pretty clear to me.
Yeah.
Very specific.
Very specific.
2 Chronicles 33:6. Also he, Manasseh, king of Judah, caused his sons to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. He practiced soothsaying, used witchcraft and sorcery, and consulted mediums and spiritists. He did much evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. And I've got one more here. It's a little bit longer. This is from 1 Samuel 28, verses 3 and 7 through 15. People are usually pretty familiar with these verses. So it says, Now Samuel had died, and all Israel had lamented for him and buried him in Ramah, in his own city. And Saul had put the mediums and the spiritists out of the land. Then Saul said to his servants, Find me a woman who is a medium, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servants said to him, In fact, there is a woman who is a medium at Endor. So Saul disguised himself and put on other clothes, and he went and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, Please conduct a seance for me, and bring up for me the one I shall name to you. Then the woman said to him, Look, you know that what Saul has done, how he has cut off the mediums and the spiritists from the land. Why then you lay a snare for my life to cause me to die? And Paul swore to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord lives, no punishment shall come upon you for this thing. Then the woman said, Whom shall I bring up for you? And he said, Bring up Samuel for me. When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out with a loud voice, and the woman spoke to Saul, saying, Why have you deceived me? For you are Saul. And the king said to her, Do not be afraid. What did you see? And the woman said to Saul, I saw a spirit ascending out of the earth. So he said to her, What is his form? And she said, An old man is coming up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed down. Who was Saul speaking to? It's pretty clear to me, and clear according to the scriptures, that this was a spirit, right? Yeah. And we see this too in Revelation, where it says, For they are spirits of demons, performing signs, which go out to the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty.
Yep. I've heard a lot of Christians believe that was a real incident. They said, well, how do you because we understand when you're dead until the resurrection. That's why it's the resurrection. That's why you're coming out of the grave, because you're still there.
Yeah.
And any communication with the dead is necromancy. It's demonic deception, familiar spirits. And I've heard many Christians say, well, how do you explain Saul seeing Samuel? Well, for one, he perceived it. For another, he was an old man. I don't think when you die as a righteous Samuel, you're going to come up old for another. You shouldn't be coming up from anywhere if you're in heaven.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, and you highlight the word spirit, but if you go to the original Hebrew or Greek, Hebrew, it says Elohim. She saw Elohim rising out of the earth. She's seeing like demonic figures, like fallen angels are Elohim, you know, these gods and things. He wasn't seeing Samuel. He was seeing Samuel, but it wasn't Samuel.
But even with that, arguing that point is missing the overall point. There was consequences for him doing that. There was a curse. There was punishment. So it shouldn't be done.
You made me one more point, because if this is true, for all Christians that believe this is true, you're honestly believing that a witch can say some magic spell and pull up dead people from wherever God has placed them, heaven, hell, purgatory, Sheol, whatever you believe. You actually believe that a witch has the power to say some magic word and pull that spirit from where God has placed them. That's crazy.
That is more powerful in
excellent point.
Yeah.
And you know, I was just sitting there listening to you talk there, and I said, you know, isn't it funny that the demons, they can't even counterfeit something that, if it was true, like in that real manner. Demons are smart, right? So don't you think, like, if they're thinking, okay, this guy died, and we know that you know he's not in heaven, but we're going to make him look like he comes from heaven because the cultures down the road are going to read this and see that he came down from heaven.
Right.
They can't do that. There's some sort of rules or laws or whatever like this. They had to make him come out of the ground. And like you said, he's an old man. He came out of the ground. There's so many red flags here to why he did not come from God. That was not Samuel.
Saul's story reminds me of this point that the choice is moment by moment. The same king who banned this practice, who outlawed them, who killed all the witches, is the same king now looking for a witch to conjure up the man of God.
That's how
and
far he
so
fell.
exactly. So it's not, okay, I did this in my past, so I'm good to go for the rest of my life. It's a daily connection with Christ. It's a daily decision, moment by moment decision to follow the principles in the Bible.
And they told him the truth.
Yeah.
They said
the witch was witnessing to him,
right?
Like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, you're gonna die, right?
Yeah.
Or did they understand the mechanics of when we place ourselves on the devil's ground, the devil can have his way with us. We're outside of God's protection at that point.
Yeah.
And so if he went, okay, Saul just stepped outside of God's complete protection, God's gonna back off. You know the devil knows God and the way that God would react to any situation. He knows God better than anyone else. And so then he said, he will be mine, and we'll take him out at that moment.
But he did kill himself, right?
He killed himself, but there was enemy coming towards him, and I mean, he would have died.
Consider the sphere of influence. So he died, his son died, they lost the war. And
3 of his sons, right? Didn't it say 3 of them went down with him on
Possibly.
that? And
We
he
should check
watched
that.
them die, I think is what the Bible says.
Yeah.
It's rough.
So let's go back to Christina Hall, where she is talking to a psychic medium, which is pretty much what Samuel did right here in the Bible.
Hi. Hello, Tyler. Hi, I'm Christina.
Great to meet you, Christina. When Christina opened the door, I did not recognize her, but I could tell that she was a little nervous going into the experience, which I felt on the way here.
You can have a seat right here.
Awesome, will do.
Behind the scenes today are 2 of my very best girlfriends. They know everything about me, and they are also big Tyler fans.
Have you ever had a reading? Have you ever seen a medium?
I've never had one, and I've always wanted one, so
Awesome.
I'm super excited.
Very cool.
A little bit of direction from beyond would be really meaningful right now.
Objects can sometimes help me kind of gravitate more towards certain people. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of scribble, we'll see what comes through. I'm gonna hold on to an object and we'll see what connects.
This is a letter.
Okay, cool. Okay, there's you. Ooh. There's a reference to like mental cognizance. It's this woman who's acknowledging that like she's bringing this much more to my like brain, my cognizance, my awareness. And the thing is, she's showing me secrecy around this, which is someone's way of saying like, I'm trying to like not show that I'm forgetting things or that I'm not all there. But it's almost a feeling of like being evasive or like trying to cover it. This is just a woman who was like, no, like I don't want you to focus on me and what's going on with me. I just want to like be happy with everyone else.
So my grandma, she's like by far the person who I was closest to. She started going through Alzheimer's Her name was Mildred, but she hated it, so she went by Biddy, Grandma Biddy. Me and her were so close. We used to talk on the phone almost every other day, and when I'd go visit her, we'd actually stay up all night sometimes talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a huge connection.
Family coming in on that side. Oh no!
Oh no. Oh.
I'm gonna run and go grab it real quick. I'll be right back. No worries, we'll hold on to this.
Okay. That's a first.
All right, slightly important. Okay, obviously, like, I want to be able to get as much information as possible that's relevant to you in the here and the now.
Right.
So I want to focus on Grandma. Your grandma is putting an extra emphasis in these past 2 years for some reason of like being around you a lot, and I don't know why this is coming in. Okay. I don't know.
I can hear my
Good
glam
Lord.
team laughing.
I need to tell you. She's having me talk about change, transition, like transitions, changes, things, and then she's having me talk about like, take a deep breath, you're getting things together, you're moving forward. I don't know what this is, but it's like, take a deep breath, you're gonna be okay. Like, we're moving forward now.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Okay. It just seems very emotional is the way that I would describe this.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
It's very emotional.
Yeah. But I need you to know that whatever this is being referred to, your grandma is behind this in a way that I can't even begin to verbalize. The amount of support that's there is so strong, and the feeling is like picking up the pieces is really the visual that she's showing me. It's like, you're gonna pick up the pieces, you're gonna be okay.
Right.
They're referring to this feeling of like, you're moving forward, and there's gonna be so much to look forward to, and you need to know that as well.
So a show that I've been doing for the past 5 years, we're on season 7 right now. It's called Flip or Flop on HGTV.
Okay.
I do it with my soon-to-be ex-husband.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
I got you.
Nice.
I got you. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. When my divorce went down and it was so public, it caused a rift between my parents and myself. I think they were very proud of everything that my ex and I had built, and I think they were very scared of what the future held for me, and it caused us to drift apart when we were pretty close. So I was just sort of hoping there was some sort of message maybe from my grandma, who both my dad and I were close with, as far as like what she sees with that dynamic with my parents and myself.
The way that this is coming in is to show patience around this.
Okay.
Dad, that'll work itself out. The mom situation, you're gonna just kind of have to step back. I think that there will be an opportunity for that to be mended over the next 2 years.
What's ironic is that's basically what I've told her.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better that I'm hearing that it's okay to give it more time.
Yes.
Because that's kind of where I'm at. I don't want to rush it or force it, and I feel like, you know, time heals all. Absolutely. So I'm glad that that message is being repeated. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
You blew my mind for sure.
It was so wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything.
This reminds me, I did a video because Brad, he had done a video on...
Brad Pitt, you mean? Or? Wait, who are we talking about?
Okay.
Like
Brad
what?
that used to work here.
Oh.
Brad Pitt, we fired him a long
that
time
was
ago.
a genuine question? Oh, wow.
Okay.
We're talking about celebrities.
You know, Brad. My boy Brad. Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, if you're watching, please come on our channel.
Yeah, we need you, bro. When Brad was working here, he made a video showing clip after clip of like the Kardashians and all these celebrities talking to spiritualists. And so I did one that was all Christian people. You're talking about Steve Harvey, Oprah, you know, she even claims to be a Christian. Kelly Clarkson, who's a Christian, who have spiritualists on their show, Drew Barrymore. And the spiritualist is saying like, oh, your dead mother's saying this or whatever. Oh, the Sabrina Teenage Witch, Melissa Joan Hart. And in seconds, this spiritualist could let their guard down. I mean, Melissa Joan Hart was like, I've heard some things in the Bible about talking to the dead. And he's like, oh, no. That was people that they were pagan worshipers and all that. I'm a Christian. And she's like, oh, I'm so glad. Let's do this. Like that quick. And so I put that video on YouTube. ETV gave us a really hard time about those clips, even though I chopped them up a lot. I'm going to work really hard to get that back on YouTube right now. You can watch it on our Odyssey, if you know what that is. I'll put a link in the description to look at that video. But this is happening in the Christian world. The Christians are being deceived about talking to the dead, necromancy.
This is why you want to subscribe to our channel, so that when Mikey finishes this video, we don't know when it'll be done, but you'll get notified when that
hit the bell icon
video hits the scene. So
Yeah.
if you haven't, please subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out, and it helps you out too, because you'll get good information.
That's right.
Speaking of Christians, Christina Hall, I found a clip where she says she's a Christian. Let's take a look.
Welcome to Jesus Calling Stories of Faith. Our guest is star of HGTV's Flip or Flop, Christina Anstead. She shares how the moments from both her successes and her dark days led her back to wellness and a new journey toward God.
So after the divorce, there was a series of things that happened that were like straight from God. And they're so personal that maybe when I'm like 90, I'll talk about them. But it led me to start going to church, and the messages that I was being sent spiritually were the same messages I was getting at church. And it actually made me be able to relax a little bit when everything else was so crazy and there was so much commotion like in the physical world.
Wow.
Why am I putting this in here? Because, you know, as a Christian, she has a desire to get to know the Lord, right? She's clearly wanting to seek truth. She's even start going to church after her divorce, which was a couple of years ago. But unfortunately, she's also dabbling with the new age and all these things. And I think it's important to put this specific video out there specifically for Christians, because watching these things, opening your heart to these things, is creating a slippery slope. You give the devil a crack and he will pull it open wide, and he will come and try to do whatever he can to take control of your heart. And that is so sad. But you're talking about these other celebrities as well. Jesus loves all of them. He loves Christina Hall. But unfortunately, there's a lot of confusion. And this confusion starts as soon as you give the devil just a little bit, and he will come and confuse your mind.
This is what Chris Lang's documentary is about, Mystified. I'd highly recommend you check it out. It's free on YouTube. We'll actually link it in the description of this video.
Yep.
But he's talking about genuine Christian, not just Christians, people from different faiths and walks of life coming together in this ecumenical movement and this push. But really the at the base of it is spiritualism. At the base of it is crystals and these things that they thought were so innocent, but it pulled them out of the religion that they were in, and now they're a lot further than when they started.
And wasn't one of the guys that was in it from Los Angeles?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a
Speaks
realtor
to that point
in Los
again.
Angeles.
I mean, they are all literally surrounded by this kind of stuff, and that's why I think you're seeing a lot of this in these kind of productions. But I think it's also doubly damaging to have somebody who's got all this spiritualism involved and then saying that they're Christian, as if they're blending it and saying that this is okay to have your fingers in all this other kind of stuff, where I don't believe that's okay. You cannot serve two masters. Those are two masters.
Yeah.
The Bible's very clear about that. You're going to love one and hate the other, or you're just going to,
Yeah. And we're not saying like, woe is her or whatever, or we're blaming her.
Shame.
Again,
Pray.
these people are confused, right? And they are trying to, everybody I believe is born with an innate desire to understand truth. And that's why you see so many of these spiritualistic things everywhere, because people are trying to understand, where did I come from? Where am I going? And it's just sad that some people get things mixed up, even mixing Christianity with spiritualism. And this is where they, end up, but they never are able to find the peace that they're looking for.
And how much worship is interwoven into humanity. You're worshiping something.
Absolutely.
So you might want to make sure you're worshiping the right thing.
This is why we talk about these topics on this channel, though. As a new Christian myself, in 2005, I was being told by Christians, like, hey, you got all the girls like King Solomon. Jesus turned water into wine, drink up. Every green herb bearing seed be used for meat. And so I was living my lifestyle based on what I was being told. And then as an artist, I love religious art. Even as someone who wasn't a Christian, I collected religious art. I still had those things in my home when I became a Christian. I a guy my ex-girlfriend's dad came over and was studying the Bible with me. And he's like, I don't know if you should have all that stuff, Buddha and a goat and all this. I'm like, oh, I don't worship it. It's just, I just like religious art. I just, but I did get convicted the more I read the Bible, and I seen like how much God is against idolatry. I threw those things away. I still had a Ouija board. I still played with tarot 2 times after being a Christian, and all because there wasn't somebody saying, look, this is wrong and this is why. And that's what we try to do on this channel. We don't want to just say, don't do it because I said so, like some people's parents do. We want to show you, look, this is dangerous, and we're going to show you every reason why we see the danger. Now it's up to you and the Holy Spirit. Pray this out, and we hope that you make the right decision.
Yeah.
We're living in the last days of much deception. Many people, the dragon's going to deceive the whole world. That's a big number. And it's all starting with stuff like this. I'm a Christian. I don't just have crystals. I have false idols and lotuses and talking to wizards. I mean, she's like deep. It's not just a crystal on her counter.
Right.
This is straight up New Age, doing yoga with your kids and acupuncture. And this is where we're at. So we hope that this is like a warning to people of how massive this deception is and where it's seeping into the church.
Yeah.
Babylon was king of taking over different entities throughout history. And then instead of basically just saying, you now have to follow everything Babylonian, they would soak up all their gods and soak up all their religions and then say, oh, it's okay. You can kind of blend that together. But it's like this amalgamation, and it caused spiritual confusion. And there has been churches in history, I should maybe say, drop the S, that also did that, soaked up all this other kind of religious paganism, and then kind of rebranded it and said, it's okay, you can still practice all these things, but really you can still be a part of the church. So, do a little study, do a little digging into that. If you have some questions, we want to hear about them in the description below. But
Amen.
Let's look at one more clip. This is fascinating to me when I saw this. This lady was a former witch. I'm not going to give you guys a little cliffhanger or anything. Let's just dive right in, because this is a super cool clip and super cool testimony.
I watched the movie and I thought, I want that. Well, of course, in the movie, they went too far anyway, and the witchcraft had turned against them, and the girls were desperate to get out of it. But during that point, I didn't even see that ending. I just thought, oh, I won't go that far. I'm just going to be innocent in it. And I began to study the religion of Wiccan and study different spells and incantations and New Age practices and occult practices that I was doing in a Christian home that nobody knew I was doing. And so what started off as something innocent, where I'm just connecting with energy and the universe and vibes and all these innocent things that we see, took me down a path of just dark desperation. I felt at one point that I was living in like a haunted house, because I was hearing scratches on the wall right next to me. I would feel a brush by me and be terrified that somebody is here in the room with me, someone's watching me. I've always felt like I was being watched. When I would wash my face for the day, it was one of the most terrifying things that I did. When I took a shower and I had to close my eyes, I was so terrified. If I had to get up in the middle of the night to get a glass of water, I would run, because I thought something's gonna grab my feet. I was an adult at this point, and it took me far into drugs. I ended up being homeless and on drugs, in and out of jails and all kinds of things. For 9 years of my life, I was really in a dark place. I think media has done a good job of pushing something to the point where it is now normalized, when back in the day, something like that for you and I, it would be shocking to see. And now, because we have shows as early as, daycare age, promoting witchcraft and sorcery, and it's okay, boys and girls, say these spell words with us. And it's so ABC preschool witchcraft that it gets into the hearts and the minds of people, including the people in church. And people who are not really connected with the Lord and don't understand, they're easily deceived. And the Bible talks about even the very elect will be deceived. And so people are going to a whole nother source. That's what they're wanting. They want a healing crystal, because they don't understand that Jesus is the healer and there's no other source that you can go to except through Jesus. And so I'm seeing a rise of this. I'm seeing it become very trending on TikTok and things like that. And there's a whole generation of people who I feel like are being rocked to sleep by the enemy. And it's just really time for the church, like what you're doing this interview, to sound the alarm and say, no, we need to wake up and we need to say, this is not right. And it's not for my home. It's not for my kids.
Wow, powerful.
I know.
We have kind of a bit of a discussion about witchcraft and stuff, ongoing discussion in my home, and my kids know if it's got witchcraft in it, we leave it completely alone. Doesn't matter how cool you think the story is or whatever you think you're going to learn from this thing, the witchcraft, we draw a heavy line.
Yeah.
What I find powerful is that she got into witchcraft because of one kid's movie called The Craft. Children's is it not a kids movie?
Yeah,
Teen movie.
teen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of movies that people think, but they're so innocent, right? And it's the same with these HGTV, TLC, whatever things. It's so innocent. It's literally just Crystal sitting there, or they're talking to a psychic medium, but look, it's with the pets, it's with her dog, that's what got her into it. That got her into to be homeless, to be depressed, to be suicidal. I mean, that is crazy to me. And she's now warning people, now she's a Christian, saying, don't do this. And she was raised in a Christian home, you know? But what I find so beautiful is that she says, you will not find peace in crystals. You will not find peace in any of these paintings or in the yoga or whatever it is, right? It's in Jesus. And so I do want to encourage people at home, if you're into these things, look to Jesus. Open up a Bible. Go to a thrift store or a bookstore and just get yourself a Bible, or even look on your phone and see if this peace that you're looking for, that you're not finding in any of these things, the New Age, the spiritualism, the witchcraft, the wizardry, try Jesus. Because, Mikey was in the occult ones and what is it, like Satanism, and he said tarot cards and everything. And he couldn't find it there, but then his final stop was Jesus, right? I have a couple of verses on the screen as well. This is from John. It says, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And from Philippians, it says, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus.
Amen. It's true. You can try all these different avenues, but eventually they come to a dead end. At a rock bottom, there's no peace, no hope. And you're just left like, well, what's left,
Yeah.
And usually it's Christ, because that's the one thing that we push away. We push away God, we push away Jesus. No, you want to change my life and all these things. But ultimately, when you try all these other things, you're going to find out He's the answer. And so just take it from me. Don't go down this path.
What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Give it a try. What do you have to lose? If you've never given it a serious try, you stumbled across this video, this is the first time you've ever been introduced to this kind of a topic, and I don't know, whatever, maybe you were intrigued by the spiritualism aspect of reality television, but what are you going to lose if you literally say, okay, God, I'm going to give you a shot? And just like the Bible says, taste and see that the Lord is good.
That's
right?
right.
You will not be sorry. I think we're all in agreement here that we've had our own walks and points where we've met Jesus, and looking at this point, I would never go back.
That's right. Yeah. So should you not watch any reality TV? Should you not watch HGTV, or maybe, a home renovation show? I leave it up to your own discretion, prayerfully with the Lord. I know for myself, specifically Christina on the Coast, I stopped watching it. I kept feeling uncomfortable seeing the crystals and those kind of things. But, there were other shows where they didn't show up in, and it was just purely about home renovation shows like Chip and Joanna Gaines, for example. But, that's not to say that it will never come up. So really take it up in prayer with the Lord and let God convict you on that. Other than that, I think that's the end of this show. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave in the comments below what your thoughts are on this topic, and maybe the Lord has redeemed you. Please share that because it will encourage other people. Also, we have t-shirts. Scotty is wearing a really cool one. The King is Coming, Revelation 22, verse 12. If you want a t-shirt and support this ministry, you can do so by going to lightwear.shop. If you want to make a donation, you can do so on lls.tv or patreon.com/littlelightstudios, and you also get some cool perks. Mikey's got a cool new YouTube channel. What do you have, Mikey?
You guys need to check out Little Light Kids, because the question we get asked all the time is, well, what can I watch? You know, what's safe for kids? We can't put a stamp of approval on anything. I mean, we'd have approved Blue's Clues, and next thing you know, there's a drag queen. It's already happened. So we want to actually create content that's edifying, educational, and points people to Christ for kids. So check out Little Light Kids, give it a subscribe, help that channel grow so we can grow the team and produce more animations and things like that. And yeah, thank you so much.
And if you'd like to donate to Little Light Kids, you could go to the same websites Danique just mentioned, lls.tv, littlelightstudios.tv, and just specify that it's for Little Light Kids.
That's right. Also, if you want to learn more about the Bible, we've got a really cool podcast, Little Light Studios Podcast. You'll find it on any podcasting app. And we've got a free online Bible school, lls.tv/Bible school. Make sure you sign up, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
If you're looking for good, wholesome, educational content for your children, subscribe to our new channel, Little Light Kids.